taking the online race broadcast performance to the next level. This is the Full Velocity Network.
And we're live and in living color. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Full Velocity Network, live tonight at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Race number 2 for the FTF Jones Cup playoffs here to crown a champion in 2017. The SMS round of 16 coming off a great race last week at the Chicagoland Speedway. We're here at New Hampshire tonight for race number 2. 151 laps makes up the distance for the Ruger Guns. 151 here at New Hampshire, 151 laps the distance around the 1.058 magic mile in Loudoun, New Hampshire. Thank you, everybody out there in YouTube land, for watching us. My name is Phil LaCasse, along with Todd Stanton and Joe Allen, as always, at the controls for us here on Full Velocity. But we're a little tad bit behind the 8 ball. These cars about to go down to the grid, so let's start with trackside for playing of tonight's national anthem. Back here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the command to fire engines has just been given. We're going to put the Ruger rifles 151 under the green flag here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Let's dive into our starting lineup. On the pole, we find the driver of a 26, that is Kevin McAdams. And to his outside in the number 30, that'll be Corey Carpenter. Row 2, we find Colin Keister and Taylor Morgans. Row number 3, Derek Justice. Last week's winner, David Schildhouse. Row number 4, that'll be Chris Wetz aboard the 71. Jason Justice rolling off 8th in the 16. Row number 5, the 74 of Blake McCandless. Kyle Riley in the 08. Row number 6, we find Brandon Lawson to the inside, flanked by Andrew Swartz. Matt Vassar and Maverick Morrow make up row number 7. Row 8, Jordan Buster and Matt Durr. Justin Malello, DJ Curtis, Tom Sylvain, Zach Webster going to roll off 20th. Keith Sherman 21st in car number 15. Jordan Taylor, Noah Carmichael, Arnold Columbia, Noah Hart, Sonny Tallman, Phil Parker, and Dylan Smith make up your, HB Hardy rather, make up your starting lineup. Green flag is in the air. Todd Stanton, welcome aboard tonight. An awesome race here. Race number 2 of the FTF playoffs. The field is in the backstretch headed toward turn 3 for the first time.
The field is in the back straightaway, heading into turn number 3. The 26 of Kevin McAdams assumes the lead. The 30 of Corey Carpenter running in that second spot. Third right now is Colin Keister. Fourth is Derek Justice, but he has a battle on his hands developing for that 5th spot already early on in the going. It was Taylor Morgans peeking down to the bottom side there momentarily, but the 31 of Derek Justice holds on to that 4th spot.
He's got that 4th spot, looking like the race for 3rd may be happening up there with the 31 of Derek Justice trying to peek around, looking almost toward the outside of the 14 of Colin Keister. He'll roll back in line, single file throughout the top couple positions. Now 1 car up the racetrack. That looks to be maybe the Corey Carpenter machine up front, sliding up the banking. We get a race for 2nd, Todd, down the front stretch into turn 1.
Indeed, that's the number 30 Sunoco sponsor machine. Colin Keister down on the bottom in that 14. He's got the bottom side reeling in here. Corey Carpenter not going away up top there. And that's awful surprising here at New Hampshire. Finally, completing the pass was the 14 of Colin Keister. Derek Justice still maintaining the 4 spot, but here comes Taylor Morgans down to the bottom side. That's that number 36 machine. Also into the fray, the Jason Justice machine. That's the number 16 on your screen. That's Jason Justice down to the bottom. Also, he's trying to work with Taylor Morgan, trying to get around his brother, Derek Justice.
Yeah, it's a good side-by-side battle for that 5th spot. Taylor Morgan's that black machine to the low side. Derek Justice up high. Jason Justice almost up in that 3rd lane. He's going to slip up a little bit. He's going to let last week's winner at the Chicagoland Speedway, David Schildhouse, sneak forward, the defending champion of the FTF Jones Cup Series. Move the 20 car up to the 6th spot, Todd, and he may look for 5th to the low side off of turn 2.
Yeah, down to the bottom side is that number 20 of David Schildhouse. He gets tucked back in line behind the 31 of Derek Justice. Still holding on to 5th right now is David Schildhouse. Schildhouse way up the track, doing a little bit of dirt tracking up at the top of the track, up in those marbles. He's going to lose a couple positions after doing that melee through the corner. Now Jason back down to the bottom. Also the 71 machine of Wetz getting around him. Wetz puts himself right into that 5th spot in that number 71.
Yeah, Chris Wetz on the move, as you said. The champ, David Schildhouse, dropping back here a couple of positions. Joe Allen will go to you for the first time tonight. But David Schildhouse coming into the evening, a lot of stress off, coming off the big win at the Chicagoland Speedway. He automatically is going to transfer into the UFI round the 12 here in 2 weeks. So just coming in tonight, it's basically just going out there and race for a checkered flag if you're that number 20.
Exactly. He doesn't have the added pressure that a lot of these other guys have, where some guys who are down closer to the cut line, for example, who are really relying on a win to secure themselves into the next round of the chase. David Schildhouse has made it easy on himself, securing that victory last week at the Chicagoland Speedway. So now David Schildhouse, in talking with him post-race last week, told us his goal now out there and get as many stage points as he possibly can and as many playoff points as he can. That'll all transfer over into the next round here as well to better situate himself for the following round, to give himself a little bit of a buffer. But as far as a win and you're in type of situation for him, a lot of less pressure. He can take some risk and some chances here in this race to really just put himself out front to collect playoff points, win these stages, and give himself that buffer that he's going to need when we get to the UFI round of 12.
No, absolutely right. And Todd, as you look, we talk about David Schildhouse. Well, the opposite end of the spectrum, you find the likes of a Jason Justice had motor problems at Chicago last week, finished off, really deep in the field. He comes in tonight 16th in the point standings. He's up there in the top 10. He's got to have a good run here tonight.
Yeah, definitely going to have a good run in that number 16 machine right now, having a good run here, but it's only lap 9 of 151. Hopefully Jason Justice's motor woes have been extinguished here for that number 16 machine. He's able to finish inside the top 10. It's almost, when you start getting down to the bottom 4 there, that's not where you want to be, and you want to go out there and try to win these races if you can there, Phil, or get the best finishing position you can, but it's one of those scenarios where you almost have to win here coming into these final events for
Absolutely.
the first round.
Oh, absolutely. You got to win races to advance to that UFI round of 12 here. In 2 weeks, we'll see that begin. But, as we concentrate here tonight at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, current race leader now, the number 14 of Colin Keister. He started in that 3rd spot. He's been able to make tracks around the 26 of Kevin McAdams. So move the 14 up to the lead, Todd. He's able to start walking away a little bit, 2, 3, 4 car lengths. Colin Keister certainly hooked up here through these first opening 10 laps.
Yeah, Colin Keister last time by ran a 29.561 to Kevin McAdams' 29.671, and then Corey Carpenter's 29.530. He comes in 8th in the standings here this evening, but like I said, the number 30 of Corey Carpenter is a little bit faster than McAdams too. McAdams may just be plotting to save his tires in that number 26 machine. He had a good run going last week until it ended abruptly in that number 26 Doritos Spencer machine. Yeah,
absolutely. He did have that abrupt end last week. You said in that 26, wrecking out early in that race. That, set him back deep in the field as well. But Kevin, with the stage points, if he earned last week, and also the playoff points, didn't lose as much time there. He was back to now 3rd place in the standings. He's got a 27 point margin, over the cutoff spot right now, which goes all the way back to 13th in the running. Matt Durr, Joe's going to display the current chase standings, the playoff standings on your screen. David Schildhouse locked into that round of 12, as you can see. Taylor Morgan's on the back of those 39 playoff points, currently second in the standings. Kevin McAdams, Derek Justice, and Corey Carpenter rounding out your top 5. 12 cars will advance out of this round of 16. 2 more races this week at New Hampshire, next week at the Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware, and then they move on over, I believe, to the Kansas Speedway, Charlotte Motor Speedway rather, where you'll see the UFA round of 16 start up here in a couple of weeks. So a lot of racing left to go. We'll have it here live flag to flag here on the Full Velocity Network. But Todd, racing action going on. It looks like around for that 3rd spot, Corey Carpenter keeps slipping up the groove a little bit. He's opening the door for Taylor Morgan in that 36. He keeps peeking to the low side. He may pounce here if he gets that run again.
Yeah, Taylor Morgans is running consistently, just a little bit faster than the 2 in front of him. He's able to hold the bottom a little bit more than the 30 of Corey Carpenter. It looks like McAdams going for a little bit of a diamonding maneuver there through the corner. And that's one of the things you got to do here at New Hampshire. But tell you what, the 36 is all over that rear bumper of the number 30 Carpenter. I just don't think he wants to press it this early on in the going. As I just say that, he's back down to the bottom side. Corey Carpenter leaves that door wide open in that number 30 machine. Put Taylor Morgan's there to the 4th spot.
Taylor Morgan's now up to their 3rd spot, rather, but interesting development off of turn 4 last time around. Derek Justice hard off the outside wall. He was currently in the 5th spot, but with that contact with the wall, he'll lose spots to brother Jason Justice, and also the number 71 of Chris Wetz going around as a 14 of Colin Keister. Todd, he also had issues. He's going to, almost slide his way out of the race lead. He's going to fall all the way back now to that 5th spot.
Yeah, Colin Keister all the way back into that 5th spot. But I tell you what, who took the lead? Taylor Morgans. In that 36 machine, he took advantage of a situation there and put Taylor Morgans in that number 36 to the lead. He got around McAdams and Corey Carpenter just a lap before. And then when the 14 of Colin Keister made a little bit of a slip-sliding move there, the 36 of Taylor Morgans was able to wholesale it around Kevin McAdams and that 14 machine.
And it's no surprise if anybody has raced around Taylor Morgan's before or has followed our coverage over the years and seen him on our airwaves. No surprise whatsoever that he started up near the front. And if he's got a car to go up there and lead those laps, Joe, he likes to accrue these playoff points, if you will. 39 of them this season. I mean, that's a tremendous buffer on these guys coming into this round of 16. And he's doing exactly what he's got to do. He's going to go up there and lead laps, try to win stages. And, he's going to try to accrue all the points he can because, sitting second in the standings, a win is nice, but those playoff points, as this in his new format show, those things are awfully critical.
Yeah, there's a reason, Taylor Morgans has established the buffer over the cut line that he has, and it's, you touched on it briefly. It's the amount of times that he runs up front, it's the wins he's collected through the year, and it's the stage wins that he's collected. Another guy that's done that as well is that 14 of Colin Keister. Colin having struggles during the season, closing out races and just being involved in mishaps, not really of his doing. So he hasn't been able to fully take advantage of some of the dominating performances that Colin has had as well. But Taylor being up there and leading races and winning these races has really established, the ability for him to kind of go out there and have a buffer through this first round where maybe if Taylor can't secure a win, he has so many playoff points that he's built up through the season that really he's doing all right as far as making it through the round of 12 and maybe even into the round of 8 as well before we get down to the ASUS Championship weekend of 4. So, Taylor's doing what he has to do up there leading the race, and I'll throw it back down to you guys as we got a big battle heating up for the 5th and 6th position between the 16 of Jason Justice, that 14 of Colin Keister, and then the 31 of Derek Justice as well.
Yeah, Jason able to slide his way around the 14, who just slipped a little bit out of the groove. May have abused his tires from an earlier slide up there with the lead. You wonder, Todd, how much he abused those tires. One thing to keep in mind, though, 21 laps on the board. Our stage breakdowns tonight, stage 1 is 40 laps, stage 2 also 40 laps, and stage 3 goes out to 71 laps. So we're already more than halfway home in stage 1 here, Todd. And so far, clean and green through the first 21, 22 laps, and all drivers keeping those cars pointed in the right direction. But as we say that, Derek Justice around Colin Keister, that's going to open the door for the 71 of Chris Wetz. He's going to try to find running room there at the front straightaway.
Yeah, a lot of guys taking advantage of the mishap from Colin Keister. Keister's probably got some flat spotted tires in that 14 machine. I couldn't imagine they're much of any good underneath that 14, but he's doing a great job hanging on. He just got picked off by the 16 of Jason Justice and the 31 of Derek Justice, but Chris West in the 71, he's not able to make his way around that 14 of Colin Keister as of yet. David Schillhouse, the champ, sitting there right there in that 8th position, waiting to pounce on those two guys in front of him. A lot of these guys got to be in tire conserve mode here early on in the going part of this, and some of these guys are trying to get those all-important stage points. And like you said, Phil, 40 laps is the distance for stage number 1. That's where it's going to end. There's 23 laps going to be completed this time by. So these guys are going to start getting a little antsy. Those that want to be in them stage points want to get every position that they can.
Oh, absolutely. And stage points awarded to a top 10 here. The first round of those will come out at lap number 40. Colin Keister loose off of turn number 4 once again. So, you know, if there was any good left in those tires at all, he's just burning them all off, and he may be laboring at home here to get to the latter part of stage number 1 here. 24 laps on the board, but looking up and down the standings here, Todd, the common denominator of the entire top 15, every one of them is into this chase. I mean, every one of them is in the playoffs. The only driver, you know, not in that 16, you know, spots for the chase playoffs that's outside the top 15, that's Tom Sylvain. He's running all the way back in a 20th position. Tom, you know, had a decent run last week, got himself positioned up 7 points in the current standings, but rolling around 20th deep in the field here, that's a peculiar place to see that number 2 here early on.
Well, Sylvain was like that last week there, Phil, if we remember correctly. The first half of the race, he was just trying to keep his nose clean, and he was there at the end of that race last week and put himself into great position last week in that number 2 machine. And that's what he's doing this time, because remember, we were talking about him last week. He was going a lap down to the leaders in the number 2 machine, but it was interesting to see what happened to Tom Sylvain, but he's going to actually come up through the field, I wouldn't think.
And you remember, and Tom Sylvain finished up second last week, as Todd said. He had a great run, started in the back, ran in the back much of the race, as you said, and maybe using that same strategy here tonight as that Miller Lite number 2 car. But looking back up to the front of the field, it is still Taylor Morgan's with the lead. Kevin McAdams into that second spot. Corey Carpenter running in that 3rd position. Derek Justice 4th, and brother Jason Justice running at the top 5. But as we start to wind down here, Todd, toward the end of stage number 1, 27 laps, make it 28 next time around. Starting to get a little bit of racing action for the lead. The 36 of Morgan starts to slide up that bottom lane a little bit. Kevin McAdams in the Doritos Chevrolet looks to be a little bit fresher for tire right now and seems to be a little bit quicker than our current race leader.
Last time by, just to show you guys the difference, it was 30.045 for Taylor Morgan's. Kevin McAdams still running 29.975, so McAdams is indeed a little bit faster. But watching these guys get off the corner here, they're all getting a little bit of tail happy. The 26 is getting tail happy off that corner, so you know those rear tires, the right rears are starting to wear off. He's looking at McAdams a little bit sideways once again. And that number 26 machine, and you're just seeing it develop, some a little bit worse than others, because they're really heating up that right rear tire, wearing it off. But Derek Justice now is up to that 4th spot. He is running the fastest laps on the track as of right now. But that 20, like I said, they're getting loose off the corner because the right rear is heating up on these machines, and it just looks like they're dirt tracking to come off the corner, but you don't want to do that so much on asphalt.
No, absolutely not. And I was misspoken there. I called the entire top 15 locked into the chase. Well, I was wrong. I omitted the number 08 of Kyle Riley. He's not in the chase. Kyle having a great run up there in the 10th spot right now, having a solid effort. So, you know, much like we saw the 8 of Jordan Buster last week, the 08 of Kyle Riley, he's out here, you know, racing for a checkered flag. As we have caution flag on the Speedway, Todd. Caution flag for the first time tonight, working lap number 30, and for the first time we'll slow the field down. And you know, gentlemen's cautions here. You're not going to see the full velocity pace truck here tonight. You're going to see, you know, these guys slow down to pace speed. This is designed to reduce the amount of, you know, caution flag laps we're going to spend to maximize green flag racing. One of the unique things that they do over here at the FTF Racing League. And, you know, I kind of like it, Todd. You know, being around FTF for the last couple of years and, you know, experiencing what we call gentlemen's cautions on the dirt, I've become pretty fond of this format. It just kind of, you know, sues out for more green flag racing. And I think we're all a fan of that.
Yeah, definitely a fan of the gentleman's caution. I kind of like that as contact was made between the 14 and the Wets machine of the 71. There is Colin Keister. Looks like he got a little hot and heavy with the 71, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens, what Joe has queued up on the replay. But I believe it was between the 14 and the 71 out there on the Speedway. And I think it was just a breaking point there for the Colin Keister machine. So we're going to throw it down to Mr. Joe Allen, Joey the Jet. What happened out there, Joe?
Thank you guys down here in the booth for the first time for a full velocity rewind. You called it, Todd. We're going to focus on the 14 of Colin Keister, the 71 of Chris Wetz. Both guys fighting for positions to move on to the UFI round of 12 here in a couple of weeks. Take this thing in slow motion. Colin Keister just down there coming up behind that number 71 machine. Just overshoots the corner, different braking zones, and just gets down there right into the back of that number 71 machine of Chris Wetz. Really nothing Chris Wetz could have done there, as we see the 74 of Blake McCandless there down on the bottom. There's the 08 of Kyle Riley, the 20 of David Schildhouse, the 57. We'll get up here on Chris Wetz. I don't see any after car contact there. Chris keeps that thing up by the wall, but you called it out, Todd. It looks like just a difference in braking points going down there into turn one, and Colin Keister, who really has been struggling through the first half of this race, he's really worn off the right rear tire there. Looked like maybe he was a little bit faster than some of those guys, as we know Colin to be, and just got down in there and misjudged the braking zone of the car in front of him and got into the back of him and sent that number 71 machine of Chris Wetz up into the outside wall. Back up to you guys in the booth.
All right, so back under the caution flag. We were going to see if we can get a word with Colin Keister on the 14, but unfortunately not look like that's going to happen there. So we'll let Colin keep on rolling in that number 14. But, you know, one of those things, Todd, at New Hampshire, I know it's a place you've had a lot of success at over the years. Truly a rhythm racetrack, a place you really got to let the car roll for a long time, and you're going to save your tires. And that's something I've never been good at. A place like New Hampshire has always been one of those racetracks to kick my tail. But what are some of the secrets you can do here to make your race cars fast over the course of a long run?
Well, you know, I use a lot of different lifting techniques coming down here into the corner at New Hampshire. This is one of my favorite tracks, and they call me quirky for liking this type of track. But this is indeed one of my favorite tracks, as it is one to go here on the Speedway, getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing here very shortly. But I'm telling you right now, though, it's fantastic, fantastic to drive down into the corners, and you have to kind of let off and kind of diamond that corner. You don't want to muscle it down to the bottom side, because you're going to end up wearing them tires off on the car, and you just kind of want to conserve it and pay attention to your different kinds of attempts and things that are going on with your tires there. And New Hampshire is indeed a rhythm track also, in my opinion. It's one of those like Martinsville, where you have to stay in rhythm, or Bristol. You have to stay in rhythm to be up front.
Oh, absolutely right. Well, the field then is working through turns number 3 and 4. I'm just stumbling over my words here, but the field getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. Taylor Morgans and Corey Carpenter, your front row. Derek Justice, Kevin McAdams, Blake McCandless, Jason Justice, Kyle Riley, Maverick Morrow, Andrew Schwartz, and Matt Master make it for top 10. Todd, the field back under Green Flag.
Yeah, back under Green Flag. The loud pedal is down into turn number 1. Taylor Morgans leads the charge over the 30 of Corey Carpenter. The 31 of Derek Justice running that third spot. Kevin McAdams running fourth. Fifth right now is the number 74 of Blake McCandless. That kind of confused me. That threw a white car here tonight. The 74 of Blake McCandless running in that sixth spot, excuse me. And then you got Maverick Morrow in the 57 machine. He is running seventh, and the stage is going to end in about 5 laps here. But an interesting thing, the people in New Hampshire, and I want to talk about this, the people in New Hampshire, much like David Schildhouse an awful lot, they have erected a billboard of David Schildhouse off the corner.
I've been chuckling at that all night long, and it's just one of the things. You come to FTF, we know the champ, we know his flamboyance, you know, the defending champ of the series, and I don't know how else to put it. David Schildhouse always having his presence felt, if not on the racetrack, somewhere around the racetrack, and we're blessed with his pretty mug here once again, you know, parading all over the Speedway off the exit of these corners, erected a humongous billboard, as Todd said, is peeking up back toward the front of the field. Taylor Morgan's trying to check out from Corey Carpenter. He's got that to about 4 or 5 car lengths. Good race going on back there, Todd. It looks like around for that second spot. Derek Justice, the 31, he keeps trying to peek down to the low side of the 30 at Carpenter. You know, we know Derek's fast in New Hampshire. it's only going to be a matter of time. And how much do you think it comes in the back of their mind? These guys are racing for stage points here. There's going to be 3 more laps left of the stage when they get back to the start-finish line.
Yeah, and that's what they're gotta be gunning for here now, trying to get every position that they can to get stage points. There are 1 point per position, I believe, in stage points here. Now, I'm still trying to get accustomed to the system, something new for me to learn this whole season. But it's interesting to see how that's going to play out with stage points. You need those stage points, especially here coming down into this championship hunt. So these guys are trying to give everything they can. Do you want to run off your tires this early, though? Because we do not throw a yellow flag. They do not throw a yellow flag here for the stage end like NASCAR does. They keep going. So it's kind of a balance where you want to run your tires off or not run your tires off and try to get those points.
Absolutely right. And you said there's no caution flag between these stages, as you said. So you not only got to worry about running off your tires to win these stages, you got to set yourself up for stage number 2, thinking there were less than 10 laps to go. These guys can make it well beyond 50 laps on a full fuel and tire run here, Joe. So you got to be thinking these guys not only want to race their tires off in stage 1, but you got to conserve something left to have a decent race car at the end of stage 2.
Yeah, and that's the unique thing with FTF is they don't have the mandatory cautions towards the end of the stage. They do have what they consider their 5-lap buffer, where if a caution comes out within the last 5 laps of a stage, that stage will end through that 5-lap buffer, and they'll fire these cars back up for the next stage. But you know, it poses a unique challenge where if you're a guy that's out there trying to get stage points, do you take a gamble and a risk, come down pit road if there's 10 laps left to go in a stage and take 2 tires or take no tires, maybe fuel only, to put yourself out there in position to collect as many stage points as possible? But at the same time, you have to deal with those side effects of doing that, where if these guys continue this thing under green through the end of the next stage or towards the end of the next stage, what is the fall off going to be on your car compared to guys who maybe went down and took 4 tires? They're going to overtake you in that second stage, and you really have to deal with the after effects of your decision to collect these stage points. So it's really a fine balance of determining what strategy it is you're trying to collect on when you're going out for these stage points.
Absolutely right. And as he's done all year, Taylor Morgan's picking up another stage win in the 36. Corey Carpenter second. Derek Justice third. Kevin McAdams finished up stage 1 fourth. Jason Justice fifth. Blake McCandless finished up 6th. Got those precious stage points there for that 6th position. Maverick Morrow 7th. Matt Nasser 8th. Andrew Schwartz 9th. And Justin Malello picking up a playoff position there, Todd. A playoff point. He's going to round out the top 10. We are now currently on lap 42, so we're 2 laps into stage number 2. Let's see how these guys set up here. Those guys who may have overrun their tires or guys that may be conserving, but you look at guys that, further on back, guys like Blake McCandless who are outside the top 10, Maverick Morrow at the back part of the top 10. Those guys, may have rolled the dice with some kind of different strategy through that first caution flag and positioned themselves further up in the top 10 to maximize all the point gain you can make.
Yeah, different type of strategy that's been going on through the field here in different, trying to see what these guys are going to do as we're trying to figure out what was going on with the stage points and see what these guys are doing. As I took a screenshot of the stage points, and Phil obviously already had them, and of course it crashed my whole system, so I couldn't view everything. So again, I apologize for a little bit of the delay between me and Phil there, but we're back going here.
Yeah, that's a different animal here. Is we're not as we acclimate to the gentleman's cautions, to the stage systems, and we try to update the top 10 of the stage. Todd was trying to do that with a screenshot. I apologize to walk it on Todd there, but I think we got the top 10 there covered in the stage. But up to the front, still Taylor Morgan's pacing his field over Corey Carpenter. About 6 or 7 car lengths between that top 2. Kevin McAdams currently 3rd. Jason Justice 4th. And Derek Justice currently 5th. All these guys, Todd, is, as typically the case is at New Hampshire, guys is content to log all these laps and looking all the way back through the field. I'm not seeing much in the ways for battles. I'm seeing guys like David Schildhouse running inside the top 15, but everybody, as said, as New Hampshire is a real racetrack, a place you really just want to log laps and save your race car. Everybody in a single file line, not really anybody, making a lot of passing out there. The best battle I find deep in the field is for 23rd position between the 71 of Chris Wetz, who was, flanked deep in the field, He's got the Netflix Chevrolet of Sonny Tallman in his sights there. That's racing for 23rd in the turn 3. It's only side-by-side battle, Todd, I see all over this racetrack.
Yeah, I've been looking up and down. You've been watching that battle, and I've just been watching these guys pretty much stay single file. Looks like we have a top 5 breakaway here. Is Derek Justice at the end of this top 5? He got about a 10-car length difference between themselves and all the way back to the 74 Blake McCandless and the 57 machine of Maverick Morrow. I'm watching Blake McCandless, so come into the corner. You watch his nose dive down into the corner, and I believe that's because he's heavily braking in that number 74 machine as his splitter hits the ground there. And the 74, as he comes through, it's a different type of feel having to hit the brakes going into the corner.
It almost seems like just listening to these guys up front there, these guys may be shifting a little bit here tonight, Joe, especially up amongst the ranks of a top 5. I'm hearing engines fluctuating. Depending on the setup, how much time could they be gaining, Joe, by shifting through these gearboxes if the setup allows that at a place like New Hampshire?
Depending if they're shifting or not, they could be shifting. We could see Blake McCandless just clutching actually to save fuel. It may be that as well. These cars act so unique and different. It could be a combination of either of those things. But if it is a shifting setup, you could really see a lot of time gain. But at the same time, it could be one of those deals where, you run the risk of tearing up the gearbox as well. So I know a lot of guys, myself included, if you do run a shifting setup, for example, you won't worry about shifting through the gears early in the race. You'll actually kind of just ride around and bide your time, and you'll start shifting towards the end of the race just to try and avoid blowing a gear early on in the race. You'd rather blow a gear trying to gain as much time as you can, towards the end of the race going for a win rather than blowing it early in the race and having to deal with it for the rest of the race. But they could be shifting, they could not be. It might be Blake just saving fuel. That's what it looks like. I thought it might have been shifting, but I think it's more him actually clutching going into the corner, trying to save as much fuel as he can. Maybe thinking fuel mileage about halfway here through or almost halfway, I should say, through stage 2 of this event.
Well, that certainly could be the case if you think if these guys can stretch out to about 55 to 60 laps. That would bring these guys, through the end of stage 2 and into the beginning of stage number 3. Now, think about it. Stage number 3 being 71 laps in a length. So if you can save any a little bit, Todd, is it conceivably possible? Could these guys maybe go all the way here with one more pit stop if this thing stays green all night long?
If they can do it on gas. If they can do it on gas, it's going to be tough. Tires is going to be the determining factor. If you don't save your tires, with that, with everything that's going on, you could have all the amount of fuel in the world. If you don't have good tires, you blow tires. That's kind of not the play you want to do. I'd kind of play it safe and probably get tires. I believe in my heart that, especially if I'm racing around here, it is a shorter track. There's going to be contact made. There is probably going to be a yellow flag, so you will get tires. But I guess you kind of got to think that they're going to go green the rest of the way, because I've seen a lot of these races here where they've covered. They weren't on the full velocity network, but they've gone 1 or 2 cautions the whole race, or maybe even 1 caution the whole race here at FTF. I've seen keep an eye on their Facebook page, because I really enjoy these guys and everything that goes on their Facebook page.
Oh, absolutely. And it's probably, if not the most competitive league in the NASCAR Racing 2-on-3 community, it's one of. These guys, top to bottom, a solid, top-notch product. The racing here is superb every week. And just to give you a glimpse of how talented and how green flag-oriented this series can be, I believe these guys at Darlington a couple of weeks ago on Labor Day weekend ran about 167 laps on, caution-free, which at Darlington is absolutely unheard of. It just, is a testament to these guys that, run the league. Justin Malello, David Schildhouse, Kevin McAdams, all the guys over here, Brandon Lawson, also so many guys, that are in the mix over here, but do such an awesome job. And the racing is just top-notch and phenomenal week after week. And you're seeing another race just like that tonight at New Hampshire.
Yeah, definitely seen another race here in New Hampshire. And like you said, it's a rhythm track, so you kind of want to get out there. Now we have a battle for that 3rd spot. I believe it's between the 30 and the 31 of Derek Justice and Corey Carpenter. Just as fast as we get back to it, Derek Justice around the 30 of Corey Carpenter, put Justice to 30, put Corey Carpenter to 4th. The 16 of Jason Justice is hanging on there in the top 5 in the number 16 machine. There's quite a gap between the 16 of Jason Justice and per se the second pack there of the 57 of Maverick Morrow. Then you have Matt Vassar in that number 17 machine. Then you got Swartz in the 67. He's hanging out there in 8th place. 9th right now is Blake McCandless in that 74. 10th is Brandon Lawson in the number 9.
Yeah, that number 9 of Brandon Lawson, I've been just kind of peeking up toward that car. He's starting to lurk a little bit further up to the front. Now inside the top 10 in that 10th spot, nestling nice. Another car up inside the top 10. We've been seen creeping up position by position. That number 17 of Matt Vassar, that Carhartt Ford there, he's starting to, march forward a little bit. He was, about 9th or 10th, about 5 laps to go. He's picked his way now up to that 7th spot, and he's got his sights set on Maverick Morrow, the Oreo Chevrolet. Those two guys nose to tail. That's a good race out there, Todd, racing for that 6th spot into turn 3.
Yeah, you're seeing a good race. I've been going through the field because I like to highlight some of these guys through the back. You're seeing a good race up there. But there's a guy out there on the track right now. I haven't seen him race a lot in NASCAR 2003, but when I do, I try to get him out there and highlight him. I know he's out there racing, but here on Full Velocity Network, there was a good battle going between, I believe it was the 03. It was 03 of HB Hardy and Curtis, DJ Curtis in that 54 machine. Those guys were putting on a whale of a battle for the 19th position, Phil. I'd like to cover the tail end of the field because we don't get to talk a lot about those guys, and they were putting on a battle back there.
Well, there's starting to be some good battles all over the racetrack. I'm up here, monitoring the battle for the 12th position. Tom Sylvain to the low side of Justin Malello. He's going to make that pass, but we're going to see a high-low switch down the front stretch toward turn number 1. The 53 Sprint Chevrolet of Justin Malello almost drove that thing deep into the corner. Sylvain blocked the door shut. But as Todd said, there is great racing all over the Magic Mile right now, and that's just the latest one I've caught my eye there. That's good racing for that 12th spot.
Yeah, and I'm looking back up towards the front, and no racing going on up towards the front. As it looks like Morgan has stretched out his lead quite a bit there over the 26 of Kevin McAdams. It's .900. Derek Justice 1.5 back. But Phil, I hear you have a good battle going on through the middle of the pack here.
Oh, I do. A great race going on for that 15th position between the 92 of Matt Durr and the 15 of Keith Sherman. Keith got a little bit loose there a few laps ago in that Charter Spectrum Chevrolet. A little bit loose down to the low side, allowed Matt Durr to come to the high lane, and Matt's run that line for about a lap or two in that high lane. So the 92 trying to pick forward. The outside lane in a place like New Hampshire, Todd, as they've progressively banked this racetrack over the years. For years, New Hampshire used to be that one single lane to the low side, but as years and years have gone on with the sim and the progression of the racetrack, you can see 2 really good raceable lines at New Hampshire, and I think over the course of this race, you're going to see a lot of great battles, and the outside isn't an impossible place to pass.
Yeah, definitely not an impossible place to pass. Now, as I was watching Justin Malello, he was down on pit road in the 53 machine. I thought he could sneak one by the Full Velocity crew, but Justin Malello was indeed on pit road. He was taking tires, so on that 53 machine, early to come down pit road, I would think.
Well, it is naturally early, but these guys maybe, these guys may stretch their fuel as high as 75 to 80 laps, so not inconceivable if Justin is pitting at this point, thinking, backwards thinking, is he going to have a car in track position toward the end of this race? So we'll have to monitor the progress of him. Also, as well as Joe, as you've eloquently been following along a couple of times, that 14 car of Colin Keister. Colin's been driving the wheels off of that thing tonight, but he's got that thing all sorts of sideways and crooked. He's been driving the wheels off it, but he's currently 1 lap down in 25th. Would you advise, if you were the 14th, to be driving that hard right now?
Colin's trying to do everything he can to gain some ground back that he's lost, so I don't blame him for driving as hard as he is, but I think that as a race car driver, he's probably screaming at the spotter that he is wrecking loose, because I think I've caught him twice now on the live monitor just about wrecking coming off of turn 2 or turn 4. Either one of those corners, he's had a lot of trouble there, just really driving off the right rear tire, and it's really it's given him some issues there as he continues to put wear down on the tires. So it's understandable with the position that he's currently in. He's trying to get everything he can to get himself back on the lead lap here. Otherwise, he could have some serious chase implications here You know, much like what we saw with Jason Justice last week when Jason lost that engine there in the 16. So, you know, Colin's doing everything he can to get himself back on the lead lap. And, you know, I hate to be the Baron of the Black Cloud or anything, but with the way this race is going, as we see Colin get real loose again on the live monitor, you know, this race, one caution so far through 66 completed laps. You know, you really got to be thinking forward towards the end of this thing, what type of opportunities you're going to have to put yourself back on the lead lap, especially as they continue to run under green. The leaders are eventually going to run into lap traffic here, and that's only going to make it even more difficult for Colin Keister to try and get his lap back as well. So he's really having to push that thing to the limit to make up some ground that he's lost.
Oh, absolutely right. And just going through this field as we talk about the happenings of the 14, you know, guys we don't see a lot here on Full Velocity, Todd. We like to try to, you know, as we get a green flag run, stretch out and find great races all over the field and try to find new people we don't know an awful lot about. And one that's caught my eye is the number 7 Ford of Jonathan Taylor, a guy, you know, races part-time here at FTF, not in the playoffs whatsoever. So the guy is out here racing for the pride and the joy and the fun of the sport and having a good run inside the top 10. He's going to be side by side with Blake McCandless down the backstretch for that nice spot. But Jonathan Taylor, one of those names we're not familiar with here at FTF, but having a good run inside the top 10 here is we got 10 laps to go in stage 2.
Yeah, having a lot of fun here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, FTF. It's been a fantastic show so far, and 10 laps shy of the second stage ending already, Phil. And these guys have put on a whale of a show, and tire conserve mode on a lot of these guys, and it's great to see some different names up there, Phil. We don't see a lot, like you said, the number 7 machine. We haven't seen anything of him, but they're having a good run there inside the top 10. But it looks like Lawson may be up in smoke, the number 9 machine.
Yeah, issues happening there with the number 9 of Brandon Lawson. Smoke billowing out that car. He's come to rest in between turn number 3 and 4, and looks like he's gonna, you know, try to just prance that thing toward the garage area. But issues for that target machine, the number 9 of Brandon Lawson. He's gonna find his way to the garage area, Todd, and you know his night may end prematurely. Tough break for Brandon. He came in tonight needing to have a good run, locked deep in, I believe, deep in this point standings. He's outside of top 8. Let me pull this up on my screen. Brandon currently 10th in the standings. He's got 9 points to the good, but he's got guys like Chris Wetz, Blake McCandless, and Matt Durr all over him, and also Andrew Swartz. Those are all guys having top 10 runs. So this may be some implications here as far as the championship goes for Brandon Lawson. Tough break.
Yeah, not only implications for that championship, but also Jason Justice has to look at this too as a savior too, because that's one of the guys that's ahead of him too after having a bad run in motor issues last week in the 16. Now it's the 9's turn, and he's got to feel that just a little bit as Jason Justice trying to crawl his way back into this race once again.
Now Jason Justice had come to pit road. Seen a lot of drivers start coming onto pit road, so pit window certainly open. You start to wonder, guys like Taylor Morgans and Derek Justice, can these guys, you know, stretch it out as far? Here comes race leader Taylor Morgans, Todd, the 36 Chevrolet onto pit road, 72 laps in. So let's see if we can't cover the race leader's pit stop there as he works his way down the front stretch.
Yeah, I was just watching the 47 there. Is Noah Hart, the 147. It looks like he blew a tire coming into the corner and hit the wall pretty hard, but he got off the racing surface rather quickly in that 147 machine.
No, he did. Well, I'm down here in the 36 pit of Taylor Morgan's. Right side tires going on the Chevrolet. Right sides are done. Over to the left sides. Taylor Morgan's, he won stage number 1, but by pitting here, does he take his way out of contention for stage 2? We'll have to see how that's going to play out. Todd, the 36 is down and away.
Yeah, 36 is down and away off of pit road. I'm watching the number 7 machine here. Was watching the number 7 machine complete his services, and his way, it looks like he's down and away. 4 fresh tires for Taylor and the number 7 machine.
4 tires for that number 7 of Jonathan Taylor. As you said, these guys out there, you can hear these guys clutching, saving all the fuel we can. Current race leader, the number 17 of Matt Vassar. He's got a 5-second advantage last time around over Maverick Morrow, David Schildhaus, Blake McCandless, and Matt Durr, your current top 5. Those guys all trying to vie for those precious playoff points. But as you see that up to the race lead, you see the likes of Jason Justice, Derek Justice. They're unlapping themselves. They're currently running 10th and 11th respectively. So those fresh tires showing they're paying off. But how much do you think this is a roll of tires, Todd? Or How much do you think it's a matter of these guys just have no fuel left as a 17 comes to pit road?
Yeah, 17 to Matt Vassar down on pit road. He's going to come to the aid of his pit crew. The 20 of Schildhaus down on the pit road. Doesn't look like these guys are going to be able to make it. The 92 of Matt Durr also down on pit road. These guys taking 4 fresh tires and Sunoco racing fuel into their cars there, Phil. They couldn't make it the distance. I know there's a couple others trying to gamble it.
I'm seeing 2 guys out there in the current, our current 2 race leaders. They may be saving all they can here with less than 5 laps to go in stage 2. 2 drivers who can badly use stage wins, Maverick Morrow and Blake McCandless. But as we say that, Todd, the Oreo Chevrolet has come onto pit road. Maverick's going to pit his way out of the race lead.
Yeah, Maverick down on the pit road. I believe there'll be 4 fresh tires for him and Sunoco Racing Field. The only guy left out there on the Speedway that's trying to make it, I believe, on fuel is that 74 machine of Blake McCandless. Can he make it to pick up a stage win?
Yeah, Blake, as you said, one of those guys out there trying it. I also think the 08 of Kyle Riley could be on the same strategy. The 08 Ford has yet to come to pit road, but as I say that off of turn number 4, Kyle Riley is going to pit the 08 out of that second spot with 2 laps to go on the stage at the line. The question comes out from here is you're going to imagine the 08's coming on for 4 tires and fuel. We'll see if he can't cover his pit stop as he hits the sign. Right side tires are up in the air, so right side tires are on. Rights are going to be down. Left side tires going up in the air. So a 4-tire pit stop for Kyle Riley. We're going to see how these guys all shake out. But can Blake McCandless use fuel strategy, Todd, and maybe pick up the win here in stage 2? Blake currently, sitting in the 12th spot in the current playoff standing. So picking up one of these precious playoff stage wins, that could be a big coup for him going forward to that round of 12 if he's to advance.
This has been lessons learned for Blake McCandless. I'll tell you that. Blake's always been a good guy for saving tires. Never been as good at saving fuel as his cousin Jonathan McCandless, who is really, really good at saving fuel. And I think he's taken lessons and pages out of Jonathan's book here this evening just to try to pick up the stage win. And he's got 1 more lap to do it in.
Well, he's got 1 more lap to do it, but, he may pick up the playoff points, but the implications and drama of the 3rd stage here looming, Todd, he's losing all these precious times and as far as these guys with fresh tires, the likes of Taylor Morgans, Jason Justice, Derek Justice, those guys well pitted early. 36, he's now got that interval run down to about 10 seconds. Blake may be trying to pick up the stage win, which off of turn 4 looks like Blake McCandless is going to steal the win of stage 2. So give him those precious playoff points, but how much do you think that implications of what may happen to Blake in stage 3 as this plays out?
Well, he's got to hope for a yellow flag as he's going to pick up that stage win now. Hopefully he can make it back to pit road and try to get some fuel. So it looks like maybe the 74 is going to run out of fuel here. Hopefully he can make it down to pit road. Is here in race communications maybe that he's trying to clutch it. He is out of fuel in that 74, but did pick up that stage win. So now he's going to be able to make it down to pit road. Hopefully he can roll to his stall with that number 74 machine. And yes, indeed he's going to do. And you got to remember, guys, out there on the Speedway, he's going to have the newest tires out there, so he should be a lot faster.
I think, Joe, that he almost went. I believe we got the green flag in stage 2 at about lap number 34. So you think about that. He stretched that fuel out almost 60 full laps. So that's a good long extended run. Don't think he can make it to the end from here, but he ran every precious drop out of that thing and did what he had to do to pick up that precious stage win.
Yeah, definitely. Blake McCandless, we covered him earlier in the event where he was running around there doing everything he could. We thought maybe he was shifting, but it turns out he was clutching. As he comes off a pit road here, he'll file back in line, I'd say, right around the 4th or 5th spot cars, and he's going to have probably 10 laps or so fresher tires than these guys. So a lot of time lost. He was in the top 10 when he started that strategy when green flag pit stop started here. He's going to file back in line here around the 6th position in line in cars. However, he is that first car lap down now, so he'll be able to go out there. Not sure what the strategy here for him would be. Is he going to run the tires hard to try to get himself back on the lead lap, or does he try to conserve the tire management and see what kind of strategy we have here? Obviously stretching it nearly 60 laps on fuel. We got a 71 lap run to the end of this 3rd and final stage. Won't be able to save that much fuel. So I think what Blake is banking on now is be able to keep pace with these leaders, keep himself positioned first when it comes to being a lucky dog here, and really banking on a caution now to get himself put back onto the lead lap and do what he has to do to go up there and get himself a good finish here through the remainder of the event. He's currently placed back in that 19th position, first car 1 lap down here in the event.
All right, sorry about that. I was on the wrong button there. Happens here in broadcast world, but just picking up where things are going on. You know, Taylor Morgans has recycled out to the race lead. Derek Justice second, or Jason Justice second rather. Derek Justice third. Kevin McAdams fourth, and Corey Carpenter rounds out your top 5. So as we cycled on through, Blake McCandless picked up the win of the stage there, Todd, but now finds himself 1 lap down to that 19th position. So big gain there was the playoff points. Bad news is now he's 1 lap down, but he may be banking on maybe a caution flag here in the interim and may put him back in a lead lap. And we know he can stretch fuel, so how much do you think running out your fuel like that may pay you off dividends here as this race goes on?
Well, it might pay off some dividends there. He did lose quite a few positions doing it, but if he gets a caution here within the next few laps, maybe even the next 10 laps, that'll help him out considerably in that 74 machine. Is right now clinging on to that 19th position, 1 lap down. This is 74 Blake McCandless.
No, he certainly is. But Todd, I've got a developing story going on here. You know, we updated the number 9 car of Brandon Lawson on pit road there behind the wall, rather. Looks like his night is going to be done. This could be humongous championship implications for number 9. Let's see if we can't, you know, talk to the driver of the 9 car, so if we still have communication with him or not. But we'll try it out. Brandon Lawson, Phil LaCasse on full velocity, my friend. You have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Brandon, tough break for you, my friend. Looks like stuff going on under the hood there. It says you're out because of a clutch. It's going to be heartbreaking for you, man. You had a good run going inside the top 10, and, you know, most importantly, you know, it's playoff time. You're nestled in a battle here now with 1 more race here left to go before that round of 12. Kind of puts you behind the 8 ball, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough stretch. You know, we got to go into Dover, and, you know, we got to really compete over there, possibly even win. But, you know, we're going to wait for this race to filter out, see what we look like points-wise, and, you know, we're not going to sweat it. We're going to move on to next week. It's the first time I've had a Ram racing motor blow up on me all year, so, you know, I definitely trust them, and I think we'll be fine for next week, and I'll take those odds and move on.
Well, absolutely right. Now, how much does that put you in a scenario where you have to race for all the points you can next week, and maybe even have to run, you know, in a do-or-die situation to have to claim a checkered flag? How does that enter into the fray as you move into Dover next week?
Well, it's going to be tough. I mean, we didn't get the race the Dover race last time we came to Dover because my power was out during it, so we're going to have to really, you know, get practice for it and work hard as we head into the next week. I mean, it's not going to be like any other week. You know, we're going to have to work a little harder, but I mean, I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be able to work hard, move on, and you know, I think we can advance if we just work hard and move on like we've been doing all season. Don't focus on the points, just focus on racing the hardest we can.
Well, absolutely right. That's what it's all about, going out there, racing all you can, let the points all take care of themselves later on. Well, Brandon, we've had 1 caution flag now working lap number 92. You were out there for a good 80-plus laps this event. Racetrack looks to be awfully fast here tonight. You guys doing one tremendous job. What was the racing out there behind the wheel? This looks to be a lot of fun. I think our viewers tonight are really getting a kick out of the show.
Yeah, it was definitely fun out there. It was real slick, real pushy, loose off the corner. I mean, we were sliding around out there a lot. So, yeah, it was pretty fun while we were out there. You know, we really struggled to start the race, but we finally worked our way into the top 10. I thought we were going to be able to work something out of it, but, you know, just had something unfortunate happen. But it's really slick. We're sliding around out there a lot, I'll tell you that for sure.
How much do you think fresh tires are going to play off here when we get to this? We're into stage 3 now, but as we move into these last 50-plus laps of this race, how much do you think that last pit stop and these fresh tires, how much of an advantage do you think those are going to get over having, like, say, 10-lap, you know, more worn tires like we saw Blake McCandless have at the end of stage 2?
Yeah, it's going to mean a lot. I mean, I was watching Blake McCandless earlier. I was trying to do the strategy, and we lost the clutch there trying to save fuel. But I think I don't know. I think with Blake, I think he's in trouble for the end of the race, but he did get those 10 points in the playoff point. And, we're battling somebody like him in the chase, so that's definitely going to be important for him heading on to Dover, putting himself in a better situation. But I really think that fresh tires are more right now, and into getting a better finish if you're going to have a chance to win. Those tires are very important. The slickness goes away once you put new tires on, and it really helps. Helps you drive on the racetrack a lot better when you have fresh tires. He stayed out there a long time, and we're falling off a lot tonight. So tires is definitely the big way to go here.
Well, you guys have put on a great race. Brandon Lawson, a champion on and off the racetrack, my friend. Thanks again for a couple of extended words here. Definitely sucks to see you out of this race, but we got 8 more of these things on our airwaves. I know we're going to see a whole lot more of you. I know you at all. We're going to see that number 9 be in contention for wins here, and you're going to be one of those guys as we get closer to Homestead, going to be in that title picture. So good luck, buddy. Thanks again for a couple of words, and sorry about your luck tonight. But as always, good to catch up with you.
All right, no problem, man. We'll move on next week. We'll be all right.
That is Brandon Lawson, the driver of number 9. Todd, was having a good run inside the top 10, but as he said, you try to save fuel, you try to clutch it all you can and do the right things, and sometimes, poof, it just goes up in smoke, and that strategy goes out the window. And unfortunately for Brandon Lawson, a tough night, 27th place finish. Certainly not what he wanted at Loudon with a strong race car.
Nah, definitely not what he wanted out there, but a guy that's definitely having a good run. Joe's even saying this in my ears. The 16 machine of Jason Justice rebounding, great rebound from last week. Jason Justice now currently running in that 3rd spot. He's fending off the charges from the number 26 machine of Kevin McAdams. We have not updated the field though, as Taylor Morgan is still blistering the field here at the New Hampshire Speedway, almost a 2-second lead over the number 31 of Derek Justice.
Yes, a 2-second lead over Derek Justice. As you said, Derek currently in that 2nd spot. Brother Jason 3rd, Kevin McAdams 4th. Corey Carpenter currently 5th. 6 through 10, we find Andrew Swartz 6th, having a great run. Matt Vassar is 7th, Maverick Morrow 8th, Tom Sylvain is 9th, and David Schildhouse, the champ, running at your top 10. 11 through 15, we find Keith Sherman, Jordan Buster, Matt Durr, Kyle Riley, and Blake McCandless is 15th. He is currently 1 lap down, the leader of the lap down contingency. 16th is Colin Keister. 17th is H.B. Hardy. DJ Curtis is 18th. Sonny Tallman 19th, and Chris Wetz currently 20th. 21st, 1 lap down, is Noah Carmichael. Zach Webster is 22nd. Jonathan Taylor in the number 7. He is currently 2 laps down in 23rd. Also 2 laps down deep in the field, we find Justin Malello, who's having just a sour night by his taste. Noah Hart also 2 laps down on the Speedway. He is currently 25th. And Arnold Columbia rounds out the cars on the racetrack, still running. He is currently 26th. 27th, Brandon Lawson out of the event. Phil Parker, 28th. He is also behind the wall, and his night is done, as is the number 1 of Dylan Smith. 29 drivers took the green flag. The Ruger Rifles 151 here at New Hampshire here. We are currently on lap 101, so 50 laps to go. This full field rundown sponsored by our friends at the Full Velocity Network. Find us at our home base, fullvelocitynetwork.com, and book your date now. Dates are filling up fast to be part of the great racing action that we display every night on our airwaves, just like we're seeing here at FTF tonight, Todd. Jones Cup Series SMS round of 16 here for the FTF Jones Cup playoffs. It's been an awesome race, only slowed by 1 caution flag. And the story of the night has been that 36 of Taylor Morgan's, probably one of the faster cars we've seen out here in New Hampshire in a long time, and he's paced the majority of this field.
Yeah, definitely paced the majority of the field, and watching these guys, as a lot of guys coming down pit road, the guys that were earlier down on pit road have come down pit road once again, and those are a lot of the guys that are 2 laps down to the rears right now of your current race leaders. Watching Blake McCandless staying up front there, like I said, he's 15th right now in that 74 machine, so he's motoring up there, watching everybody else fall a lap down. But another interesting strategy play, though, is Phil, he can run a little bit longer on field now that he lasted about 48, 49 laps there in his last field run. Does he chance it and actually stay out there a little bit longer and maybe come down and take only 2 tires or gamble even that per se?
At a place like New Hampshire, 2 tires, not impossible, but I think tire wear tonight, may fall off a little bit. But as you said, he's going to have those 10 laps more of fuel. I'm thinking the fuel strategy play, I think that was going to be effective for as far as winning stage 2. I don't think so much here as we get to the latter part of this race here in a stage 3 and now with less than 50 laps to go. I think when our fuel window opens for these guys, which I think in about 3 or 4 laps, it's probably going to open for everybody. I don't see anything to gain by going out there and, you know, running this thing out of fuel once again, you know, unless per se you get a caution flag later. But at that point, you're banking on luck. So I'm thinking it's okay to be off cycle, you know, to have those fresher tires, but you're going to have to come in one more time. I'm not sure, Joe Allen, how much time you can afford to give up here and, you know, have older tires. We know everybody's got to stop at least one more time.
Yeah, we're still just barely outside of our fuel window unless you're aggressively saving like Blake McCandless was. But at the same time, we saw guys like Noah Hart go out there and actually blow a right front tire. So you have to keep that in mind as well. And you touched on it perfectly. It's a cost and trade and a trade-off benefit as far as, you know, when it comes down to tire strategy and fuel mileage. Obviously, you want to have enough fuel here to the end of the race, but at the same time, tires matter. So guys that come down here will probably, I anticipate we'll see the leaders come down towards the end of their fuel run. I'm going to say probably within 10 to 15 laps, judging based on when these guys last came down pit road. We'll see all the leaders come down for their final stop of the race. And it'll come down to who is able to save their tires better and conserve their stuff. Obviously, Taylor Morgan's already has an advantage on that, having just about a 1.8 second lead over second place Derek Justice in that 31 machine, so it's going to make it a lot easier on him. But you touched on it, Phil. It comes down to that trade-off. You know, you want to have the better tires at the end of this thing. Fuel is nice to have, but tires are going to be better, and there's no guarantee that some of these guys up here, depending on when they have to come down pit road, that they may even have to take 2 full cans of fuel. Some guys may have been able to save fuel through this second run here, where they only have to come down and take a can and a half of fuel, for example. So it depends on the different strategies out here. But I think the one thing that's universal for everybody is you want to have the better tires rather than the fuel. So a lot of these guys coming down early here are going to have to come down once more. Most likely they won't be able to make it on this final stop like most of our leaders in the top 5.
Oh, absolutely right. And, you know, as we peek on, you know, I think we're going to see the pit road going to be open for these guys in probably the next 5 laps. If, you know, math calculates me right. These guys were in pre-lap number 80. So, you know, you're thinking in about 15 laps, they're going to be up to about 35 to 40 laps into some of these guys. So, you know, Joe, maybe we're on it probably about another 10 laps or so. So I may be premature in my thinking. But looking around the Speedway, Todd, trying to find race battles for position, they're kind of few and far between. The race for 4th starting to heat up between Jason Justice and Corey Carpenter, but also, you know, peeking back further in the field. I've seen good racing going on back there between the 2 of Tom Sylvain, the 92 of Matt Durr, and the 08 of Kyle Riley. Those 3 cars are nose to tail. Got a good race going back out there, especially racing for 11th between the 92 of Durr and the 08 of Riley.
You turn your attention to the battles on the track. Pit road is starting to pick up here. 31 of Derek Justice down on pit road. He pitted out of position number 2 in that number 31 machine. He took 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles and 2 Kansas Sunoco Racing Fuel in the 31, and he actually down and away for that number 31 machine. I know I seen another car out there on pit road, that number 8 of Jordan Buster, also on pit road. I believe he'll take 4 fresh tires and be down the way here momentarily. Right sides are just finishing up on the Jordan Buster machine. He had a good run going last week too here on the Full Velocity Network. Now right behind him is, I believe that's Taylor Morgan's in that number 36 machine, and Kevin McAdams also coming in. So Jordan Buster finishes up his service. Phil, do you have the 36?
I absolutely do. A 36 coming down to pit road, a long, slow pit road here, 35 miles per hour, I believe, the pit road speed here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So it's a long way down off the banking. 36 on pit road now. Right side tires go in the air. So is it going to be 2? Is it going to be 4? You know, and he's got, you know, a little less than 40 laps left to go. So fuel shouldn't be an issue. But I think it's going to be 4 fresh tires on 36. It certainly is. Work down all clean on this end. The 36 is going to rejoin the race down and away. Now the question is, can he resume the race lead when this thing all cycles out?
As Kevin McAdams down on pit road, he overshot his pit stall. That was costly, precious seconds on pit road. But Kevin McAdams, 4 tires was the call on that Dorito sponsor machine, and he's down and away. He's back, returning to field.
So looking back up to the front, current race leader now is going to be scored the number 17 of Matt Vassar. The 17 has not come to pit road as of yet, so He's going to have a 4-second advantage on the 57 of Maverick Morrow, the 20 of David Schildhouse out there. Vassar going to flash by pit road once again. The way he was off the gas, I thought you may see him last time around, but these guys running out, adding up these laps, stretching out their fuel, these guys going to be able to, have the benefit, Todd, of fresher tires. How much do you think that's going to play a role here through the closing stages? I think the guys with the fresher tires that don't lose as much time to guys like, say, Taylor, like Derek, like Jason, they may have the best chance for win, but you got to think the more laps they're clicking off right now, that's going to be harder and harder to do, unless you're going to bank on something per se, like a 2-tire pit stop.
Yeah, and that's going to be difficult. Those tires are going to be pretty worn. You almost have to gamble now if you were in Blake's position, or maybe even Matt Vassar's position. You almost want to kind of gamble and try to stay ahead of these guys. But you got to remember, the guys that have 4 fresh tires right now, Taylor Morgan's 36. He's 6th. He's 20 seconds back of your race leaders. Derek Justice now there. He is in 7th, or now 6th, as everything keeps updating. So 19 seconds behind is Taylor Morgan's with 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. He's out on the Speedway. He is tearing into these guys.
No, he is smoking around the 1.058 mile magic mile here in Loudon, New Hampshire. Just trying to keep my eye on pit road here, waiting for more of the race leaders to come on. As of right now, it's completely a ghost town, so you definitely see these guys currently, that top 4, Matt Vassar, Blake McCandless, Maverick Morrow, Matt Durr, those guys all out there playing, absolutely fuel strategy. At this point, they've all made their bet as far what they're going to do in this back half of this race here, but at this point, these guys got to be banking on a caution, or they're not going to be in contention for a race win. But the way the 36 is laid down this field, Todd, if it stays green, he was going to be hard to handle anyways, but as this thing cycles out, he may have a nice healthy advantage here over the 31.
Yeah, it's one of those things that they have to bank on, this yellow flag that's coming up. It's just that's the only way it's going to pull everybody down on pit road. Matt Vassar, I believe, is coming down the pit road. Yes, indeed he is. 17 machine of Matt Vassar down on pit road. He's going to relinquish the lead. I believe that should be the Blake McCandless now. He should be able to good to go for another couple of laps or so. Should Blake McCandless. So these guys got to be banking on the yellow flag now. Blake's the only one left out on the Speedway, so he's got to be banking on the yellow flag to happen.
Yeah, but he's going to be gobbled up by the 36 of Taylor Morgan's here any time now, as those guys work their way down the front stretch, seeing more drivers start to peak on the pit road. See the 76 of Noah Carmichael amongst them. But just looking at the interval between the 36 and the 74, it's down to precious time there. And that's just what we're talking about here, is these guys on fresher tires, as Taylor able to be able to slide his way now around Blake McCandless here in about another lap. He's about 4 or 5 car lengths down as they head toward turn 1. So Blake on those extra worn tires on the same strategy as, say, Maverick Morrow and now David Schildhouse, guys that are now outside the top 10. It's just more precious time lost. And now you start to peek at these guys that are 1 lap down that may have made their pit stop. Those guys that have stayed out, they may be racing to hang on to a top 20 position as this thing wears on.
Yeah, but another question that needs to be answered is, can those guys make it the rest of the way on fuel that just pitted most recently? Can they make it the rest of the way there, Phil? I mean, Blake extended it to 48 laps, but can those guys extend it to 48 laps? Because they look like they're just going. Yeah, it was 48 laps out there with the 74.
And Blake stretched out to 48, but these guys, I believe, pitted with about 41 or 42 to go. So I think these guys maybe even close to 43. I think, we saw Blake clutching quite a bit in that second stage to pick up that win. Thinking these guys, as Todd said, these guys may be on the bitter edge of making it, so we'll have to pay attention to that. But as our race leaders have now recycled around, McCandless not yet to pit road, wearing out that fuel as still is at 57 and 20 now, who are currently 9th and 10th. But Taylor Morgan's has come to pit road. You got to assume from the last time, he's assumed the race lead, but he's not able to drive away from the likes of, say, Derek Justice, who is, they're 0.8 of a second behind. The 31 having a great run. He's trying not to let, Taylor get away, but he's almost got a full half a straightaway now to chase down to that 36.
Yeah, as now the 74 of Blake McCandless comes down to pit road out of his 3rd position. 4 tires is the call for Blake McCandless. So he's going to be down and away and joining the tail end of the field. But if everything plays out, he could be the guy looking at winning this race. If those guys cannot save the fuel that he did, I think they were on the edge of 43 or 44 laps. They are really pushed it. Nobody's clutching it, so I almost think that they think they can make it, or something to that, or maybe a yellow flag's going to come out. It's really up in the air right now.
Well, you got to think clutching the way he did at the most. If these guys are even saving from here or thinking concerned about it, they're probably going to go 43 laps. Now, if Blake ran 48, that's 5 more laps of saving. Certainly possible in a place like New Hampshire, but at any circumstances, Todd, can you save more than 5 miles of fuel at a place like New Hampshire? I'm thinking 43 laps. These guys got to be safe, but we keep in mind Blake was clutching the entire run, but is it possible to save even more than 5 laps here?
I think it's difficult. I think it's difficult to do what Blake did. He had 5 or 6 more laps there on what would be a normal fuel run and a fuel strategy with the 74, and he was clutching from the very get-go of the second stage there. So it's going to be interesting to play out. Those guys are really running the tires and the wheels off those cars. Can they make it the distance? Is the question, Phil. And I know we're beating it around, but I don't think they can if they're running it like they are.
Well, we'll have to pay attention to that and see. We saw a good battle going on for the 7th position. Chris Wetz was up there in the 71. Looks like he got a little bit out of the groove working his way through turn number 3 and 4. He washed up the hill a little bit. That allowed the 57 of Maverick Morrow, the 20 of David Schildhaus to work on by, as also did the Matt Vassar car. So you look at Chris Wetz now, he's falling off the field. That move to 71, Todd, may have a problem. He may have come to pit road. He had fallen way off the pace.
Yeah, 71 is indeed on pit road, and it's unfortunate for Wetz. He's now took 4 tires. He's down and away. Another car on pit road too. I'm not sure, can't quite catch who that was on pit road. I'm watching these guys. Some of these guys really dirt tracking it through the corners.
I think I lost Todd Vincent there, but we'll catch up on that. Okay, sorry, you didn't complete the thought. I was busy clicking on through trying to find more stuff going on the racetrack. But as Joe just kind of peeked out here, Derek Justice had fallen about 1.5 seconds behind our race leader Taylor Morgans. He's chased that down now to about 10 car lengths. So can the 31 have one more charge left? 128 laps going on the board, so a little less than 25 laps to go here, Todd. These laps are clicking off really, really fast at FTF tonight. Only 1 caution flag to the first 128 laps. But what do you think? We know the 31 and the 36 are about on equal tires. Do you think the 31 has one more run left to make it? Can he chase down Taylor and maybe win this race?
Well, the last time by it was a 0.9, but now it's up to a 1.093. But it also means the 31 of Derek Justice has some traffic in front of him that he has to deal with, where the number 36 of Taylor Morgans does not have any traffic. He has clear sailing, so it's going to be a little bit easier for Taylor Morgans, as now Colin Keister, who was really, really fast all evening long out of this race, piston ignited, blew up.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate for the number 14.
Yep, motor expiring on the number 14. Another guy coming in the playoffs, trying to hold on to those top 12 spots. Colin coming in tonight, 8th in the standings. 10 points better on those guys behind him that he's racing. Just to update the guys that were behind, that were right there. The Matt Vassar cars had a good run. Brandon Lawson's out of the event, so we know he's going to lose time there. Chris Wetz, we saw this have a problem. It's going to open the door for guys like Blake McCandless, who are trying to claw their way in with 1 point to the better. Also, likes of Matt Durr having a decent run out there consistently in the top 15. And Andrew Swartz, he's up inside the top 5 currently. Andrew coming in tonight, 14th in the standings, 5 points out. But with the troubles that the 71, the 9, and now especially the 14 are having, it looks like the Schwartz car going to make up a lot of time, as is Jason Justice, who's currently 4th after that disastrous run last week. He's rebounded nicely this evening at New Hampshire. Currently in the top 5, Todd, with 20 laps remaining.
Yeah, currently in the top 5 and doing a fantastic job on that Bud Light Ford Fusion is a 16 of Jason Justice. Now looking through the rest of the field, just looking at some of these guys, looks like the number 26 of Kevin McAdams starting to come into the picture, come into the fray, as now he's 1.88 seconds back. He was over 2.5 seconds back.
Yeah, Joe, I think you just made that observation to me in my other ear. We know the 26 of Kevin McAdams, a guy who's always been cerebral at a place like New Hampshire, a guy who's always able to say his stuff to the end. Is there any reservation whatsoever that 26 was not going to make a run at these top two? He's cut off over like 1 full second in about 2 laps. 26 got to be the fastest car on the Speedway.
Oh yeah, you know, Kevin McAdams is a threat to win these races anytime we come over to FTF. If you remember back to last weekend, Kevin McAdams was running up in the top 3, top 5 area before he had that late race contact with that 31 machine of Derek Justice. So, you know, you never count out that number 26 machine. He's starting to creep into the fray over, I believe, 2.5 to 3 seconds back just a short 5 laps ago. He's now shrunk that distance back to 1.7, just over 1.7 seconds back from our race leader, slowly starting to creep in on our second place car, that number 31 machine of Derek Justice. Just under 20 laps to go remaining in the event, guys, so don't count out that 26 machine, kind of lurking back there. He's been in the top 5 all evening, and he'll certainly be there towards the end of this thing to try and see if he can collect himself a victory here through round 1 of the FTF Jones Cup Series playoff.
Oh, absolutely right. And Todd, he's creeping into the picture a little more and a little more. He's running down the 31 of Justice. But think 1 week ago at Chicagoland Speedway in the closing laps, there were contact between the 31 and the 26 that just destroyed the Kevin McAdams machine. How much do you think that may be lingering in the back of their mind? I mean, you would think normally at a short track, if you got some kind of vendetta, you would use it up. In New Hampshire, you know, a 1 mile flat racetrack, it runs an awful lot like a short track. So, how much do you think Kevin's got that in the back pocket, and how much do you think he's willing to cut a guy like Derek a break after a little fiasco those two encountered there last week?
There was a lot of tempers flying last week, and you know, being Kevin McAdams, and you know, I know what I would do, and that's one of those questions. I know what I would do, but it was very serious. Kevin McAdams, I'm sure it's a bit in the back of his mind. Derek Justice, I know, has to be thinking, oh, what's Kevin going to do to me here tonight? And he may not wait till he may not do anything tonight. He may not do anything 3-4 races in. He may not do anything at all. But that thought's always going to be in the back of his head. That what Derek did to him at maybe Chicagoland, or what those two were doing to each other at Chicagoland, I should say. It's a long memory. It could happen anytime. And that's the process that has to happen here in sim racing, or even real racing for that matter. I haven't forgot about some of the guys that have wrecked me. Don't you worry.
And I'm probably on that long laundry list of guys that have wrecked Todd Stanton over the years. I know I've gotten into my teammate, it seems like 1 billion times, and probably owes me more than I know. But Taylor Morgan is now able to work his way around lap traffic there. Looks like the 08 of Kyle Riley may have been the one, you know, losing a lap there. Or sorry, that's a 92 of Matt Durr they were racing up there. Matt Durr, you know, was in the fray on the lead lap, currently 13th, but he has fallen 1 lap down. You know, to the inside now swings Kevin McAdams, trying to chase down those top 2. Justice trying, you know, running more the middle lane of the racetrack. The 36 of Morgan's, he's kind of arcing that thing in, letting it drift up high off the exit of the corners. I'm seeing guys like Kevin McAdams, Todd, running more to the low side of the speedway. So seeing definitely 3 distinct, you know, ways these guys are attacking the corner. It's going to set up for a great last 10 laps here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, definitely going to set up for a great 10 laps, like you said, Phil. It's going to be interesting, as now we got a race, I believe a race for the lead here. Looks like, no, it's not for the lead. As Phil was saying, it was actually for a lap car here. It's 31 of Derek Justice still running in that second spot, but Taylor Morgan's now 1.3, so his interval is stretching over the 31 of Derek Justice. Kevin McAdams right there. McAdams is chipping away slowly at the 31, not quite fast as he once was, but he's still chipping away very slowly on Derek Justice.
Starting to chip away, yes, but both of those guys are starting to lose time to our race leader, Taylor Morgans, who looks very poised to pick up the checkered flag here tonight. 10 laps remaining in the Ruger Rifles, 151 here at the beautiful Magic Mile, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, located in Loudon, New Hampshire. Race number 2 for the FTF Jones Cup Chase playoffs here that we're going to have live flag to flag here. This is only race number 2. We got 8 more of these things the next 8 Sunday nights. You can expect us right here live with flag to flag coverage. And We're going to update all the playoff scenarios over here in the next couple of weeks and setting up for that ACES Championship night at the Homestead Miami Speedway, where 4 of the 16 drivers eligible will be racing for a championship. Wonder who's going to get there, but with a little less than 10 laps remaining, Todd, that Taylor Morgan's advantage seems to be growing a little bit more and a little bit more. This thing stays under the green flag conditions, which at this point you got to think they are. We've only slowed by 1. Taylor Morgan looks poised to pick up a checkered flag here tonight. He leads the series as far as playoff points goes with stage wins, but that win is always coveted. That guarantees you on to that next round, that UFI round of 12.
Yeah, it definitely guarantees you to the next round, and that's something Taylor Morgan's chasing. So maybe you don't have to worry there going into that final race here that's going to be coming up. So 36 Taylor Morgan's trying to strike it down here. As it looks like the 31 of Derek Justice still running in that second spot, but Justice and McAdams now. It looks like McAdams starting to lose a little speed to the number 31 of Derek Justice. Looks like McAdams starting to fall off the pace just a little bit. To Justice now, 0.80 separating him and Justice.
And I'm just trying to roam around here and see if we can't pick up another battle on the racetrack, as we paid so much attention to the leaders here over the last 25 laps, but just nothing in the way as far as close racing for position goes. Probably the best races on the racetrack we find are about for the 8th position between David Schildhouse and Maverick Moritz racing for 7th, and back in the battle for 9th we find Tom Sylvain. He's got a couple of car lengths advantage over Kyle Riley. Those 10 drivers are the only 10 left on a lead lap. His laps are continuing to click off, but nothing in the way of single, as far as racing for position, as these guys have all run great lap times. The cars have all worn in. The tires starting to wear a little bit more. These guys rim riding through these last couple of laps, Todd, if you can believe it. 5 laps remaining here in New Hampshire. What a terrific night. And that interval Taylor Morgan's had, it's shrinking. Derek Justice now within 0.7 of a second and gaining as they hit turn number 3.
Yeah, Derek Justice running 0.2 of a second faster than Taylor Morgan's a lap, is now Justice starting to run him down in that number 31 machine. Let's see what happens this time by as they go across the start-finish line. 0.676, so he chopped a little bit more off the 36 of Taylor Morgan. So it looks like he's catching him at a pretty good clip.
Yeah, 0.2 of a second again last lap, as Joe was saying there, and it's been consistent down to 0.6 of a second last time around. But great battle going on, Todd, inside the top 5 off of turn number 2 there down the back straightaway. The 16 of Jason Justice there, but the 67 of Andrew Schwartz, that's been good racing. Andrew Schwartz may have something left in the kitchen sink here, as he's got a good run. That's a good battle for 4th here in the winning laps off of turn 4.
Looking at a pretty good battle between the 67 and the 16, trying to catch up that as I was trying to look at the 36 and the 31, but a good battle between the 16 and the 67. Schwartz right now running in that 5th spot. Jason Justice running 4th. They're all over each other there. It does not look like anybody has a distinct advantage here. Justice does slip up the track just a little bit. Schwartz is able to keep it down to the bottom just a little bit more, but not able to complete the pass coming off of 4.
If you can believe it, next time around, popsicle sticks are going to go in the air. 2 more trips around the Magic Mile. Can Taylor Morgan's, who has just dominated this race tonight, take the checkered flag at Loudon? Can it come down to a guy like the 31 of Derek Justice? He is right there. They make their way around the lap car of Tom Sylvain. Tom currently in the 9th position and holding on by a thread there. But does Derek Justice have any more time, Todd? They took 2 to go at the line. The interval is 4 car lengths at the exit of turn number 2.
Yeah, about 4 car lengths at the exit of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Still about 2 car lengths to 3 car lengths there. The 31 of Derek Justice still trying to chase down Taylor Morgan's. Now number 36 machine, we are into turn number 3 and off of turn number 4. For the final time, we're going to get that white flag. White silk is in the air. The final time, the final circuit here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
1.058 miles stand between Taylor Morgan's and the checkered flag, but will that Baskin-Robbins Ford number 31 be the main objective here that keeps that 36 on a victory lane? Call it 4 to 5 car lengths as they head down the back stretch toward turn number 3 for the final time. The 31 going to drive it in really deep. Can it stick? Can he make the run? Looks like the answer to that maybe as of this point no. It's down to 2 car lengths, but checkered flag in the air. Taylor Morgan's wins the Ruger Rifles 151 at New Hampshire.
Yeah, I believe one more lap. Derek Justice might have been able to do that in the 31. He finished .166 between himself and Taylor Morgan's. Great race here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. One yellow flag only. Great race by the FTF guys here for the Ruger 151 here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Taylor Morgan's taking down the win. Derek Justice finishing in the second spot. Third was Kevin McAdams. Fourth, Jason Justice. Andrew Swartz finishing up fifth. Corey Carpenter is sixth. Seventh was the 57 of Maverick Morrow. Eighth, the champ David Schulhaus. Ninth, the number 2 of Tom Sullivan was one lap down. So 8 cars on the lead lap here this evening. Tom Sullivan is going to be your first car. One lap down in ninth. 10th is the 08 of Kyle Riley. Blake McCandless finishing up 11th in that number 74. Matt Durr, 12th. 13th, Jordan Buster. Matt Vassar, 14th. 15th, Sherman in the number 15. The 71 of Wetz finishing up 16th. Taylor finishing up 17th in the number 7. HB Hardy having a good run here, 18th in that 03. D. Curtis in the 54, finishing up 19th. Sonny Tallman, 20th. Noah Carmichael, 21st. Justin Malolo, not a really good run here this evening for that 53 machine. He's going to finish up 22nd. 23rd was the 147 of Noah Hart. Webster finishing up 24th, 5 laps down. And then the guys that are retired from the event here this evening were Colin Keister, Columbia, Brandon Lawson, Phil Parker, and I cannot quite see the last guy there, but I know there was one other guy that retired. Dylan Smith retired from this event, 29th on the field.
A strong field of race cars this evening. 29 cars took the green flag about an hour and a half ago here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. One caution flag for 3 laps. What a tremendous run. 148 green flag laps tonight at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Joe Allen's going to run down toward victory lane, catch up with tonight's big race winner, Taylor Morgan's. I'm sure he's going to be happy down there. I'll run down and see if we can't grab our runner-up finisher, that being Derek Justice. But Todd, I'm going to throw it down to you this week for the 3rd spot. I believe you're going to catch up with the driver of the number 26 Doritos Chevrolet, and that is Kevin McAdams. So Todd, I'll throw it down to you.
Indeed, I've caught up with the Doritos Chevrolet, the 26 of Kevin McAdams. Kevin, a little bit different than last week. We got the interview at a different circumstance, but this week you're on the podium, bringing back a 3rd place finish here tonight in New Hampshire. Tell us a little bit about tonight.
Well, Todd, definitely much cleaner than last week. It was a good race. Great race up front. Everyone was driving clean. I made a couple mental mistakes entering the pits. Got a red right front, got a blown right front going into the first time, and then I overshot my stall on the second round of pit stops. But great effort by everybody. I'm really proud that we had a long green flag stint there and allowed the guys who really needed the race to go green to duke it out at the end there. It was a good finish, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, indeed, a great finish out there on the Speedway. I was impressed by all the drivers here this evening. One yellow flag here tonight. That's fantastic racing here for FTF.
Yeah, it's hopefully momentum going forward the rest of the chase. I think we have a good core of guys. We had a lot of green flag racing last week on a track that was really hard to pass. And we had a long green flag run tonight on a track that's really hard to pass. So good effort once again. Good win to Taylor. He earned it tonight. Good second place finish by Derek. Good effort by everybody.
Kevin, I'm going to give you the microphone. The floor is all yours. Thank whoever we'd like to thank here this evening.
Well, just like to thank you guys for stepping up for us and doing the broadcast for the chase, for the playoffs. I think we're putting on a really good show, showing everyone that we can put on long green flag runs and good racing and good, really exciting circumstances like last week, having a last lap pass, having me and Derek get involved in some altercations. I think that's part of it. I think that's part of the fun. Just want to thank the staff and you guys and the drivers that come every week and make this happen. So once again, good night.
Yeah, indeed. Great night here for FTF. All the drivers out there on the Speedway. Again, congratulations tonight on your 3rd place finish, Kevin. And hopefully this is some nice momentum coming into next week for you.
Thanks, Todd. Dover's a good track for me, so we'll go for the W there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Kevin McAdams finishing up 3rd here in the 26 Doritos Chevrolet. I'm going to throw it down to Phil, down to Joe Allen, or no, I think Phil is actually going to come up with the runner-up here tonight, as we switched it up a little bit last week. But this is going to be Derek Justice here, coming up just a wee bit short.
Yeah, a little wee bit short. Had a good run tonight, finishing up with that number 31 Baskin-Robbins Ford In the runner-up spot, Derek Justice, an awesome run by all you guys at FTF tonight. Do you think one more lap and you may have changed the title list and maybe put this thing in victory lane?
I wouldn't say one lap. It would take me about 2 laps to get around Taylor because he's difficult to pass. But I think if I would have put a little bit of pressure on him because he was losing real grip off the corners, I think I would have had him. But I don't know. This machine, this Baskin-Robbins machine, was a long run car tonight. She's been beaten banged up tonight on the turn 2 wall there earlier in the race, and we never could have get it repaired. So if that didn't happen, I think we had a better shot. But props to Taylor for holding me up there.
Taylor had a good car, absolutely. You had a good piece as well to finish up second tonight. Big picture racing there, Derek. I mean, you came in tonight fourth in the standings. Yeah, you didn't get that win to lock yourself in, but you got to feel comfortable where you sit heading into Dover next week as you set your sights forward until around a 12, but most importantly, trying to get back to that Final Four and claim that championship that was so in your grasp last year. It got away late. I'm sure that's all going to be in the back of your mind here. What's your mindset going into next week? Do you feel comfortable, or do you still going to race hard?
Well, it's always, racing for the win regardless because, these bonus points matter so much, especially going the last round before the Final Four. But with the rec point systems, I'm not in a good spot right now, so I got to race clean here the next 4 or 5 races to actually able to, take some chances and race people hard. I know last week between me and Kevin, I know we're mad at each other, but I think last week, I think he raced me clean tonight. I just got a little loose when he was on my inside there early in the race. I'm no harm, no foul there. It's just, yeah, I was a little frustrated at the time, but I had a teammate, well, not a teammate, but my brother there on the other side of radio communication to calm me down a little bit. So just had to keep focused.
Well, Derek, you really put a good solid run here tonight, finishing up in the second spot, and said a lot of racing here left to go. You move into Dover next week, but I'm going to give you the microphone one more time. Give a shout to everybody out there who might have been watching here tonight, maybe watching this later, or I know you got a lot of friends and sponsors and fans and whatever and whatnot that watch you each and every week. So give a shout to everybody out there who is cheering on that 31 tonight.
Well, first and foremost, Full Velocity Network always puts on good piece no matter where you go, FTF or any other league, inside or outside SRA. Second of all, a good setup combination tonight. I know some people just had to alternate their driving style. I had to do it myself. I didn't have it really figured out at all during practice until something just clicked. But props to all the admins on FTF that try to put a good product each and every week. And everybody that's watching on YouTube land, and also shout out to all the NR 2030 streamers out there that broadcasted this race tonight too. So it's kind of cool with that. You can get a glimpse of everybody's point of view at the same time. So.
No, it certainly is one of the cool things to do on a Sunday night. Come out here, not only watch the broadcast, but you can probably tune into probably about 10 or 12 different guys that are giving you a point of view kind of thing. Well, Derek, once again, thanks for a couple of words, and got a lot of racing left to go, 8 more weeks. So I'm sure we'll see a whole lot of you. And I know if we know anything at all, that 31 to be up here contending for wins. So good job tonight, buddy, and good luck next week at Dover.
All right, thanks, sir.
All right, Derek Justice, guys, bring you home in that second spot tonight. But one spot short of victory lane, who I know Joe Allen's going to be running down there to victory lane. Joe, I believe you've caught up on our race winner tonight. Of course, that is Taylor Morgans.
Yes, sir, guys. Down here with our race winner, second race of the 10-race FTF playoff here for the Ruger Guns 151 from New Hampshire. Our buddy Taylor Morgans, me and Taylor go back a long ways, but Taylor, you went out there tonight and you put out a statement. You gave everybody a message that, much like what the regular season was for you, you're a force to be reckoned with. You went out there, led 119 of the 171 laps here this evening, so that's a very dominating performance, and you looked like you obviously had the car to beat all night. Tell us about how the race went. It looked like it was towards the end of the runs as the tires continued to wear down. It looks like you guys lost a lot of rear end grip off of turns 2 and turns 4 there, but overall, a great race by these guys over here at FTF tonight.
Oh yeah, that might be the funnest race I've ever run. Honestly, that was really fun. It got it got really, really loose at the end of the run. It was like a dirt track out there.
Well, you know us up here in the booth, we're all fans of dirt tracks. A lot of us come from a dirt background, with the exception of me, that being Todd and Phil over on the East Coast. But buddy,
Oh, yeah,
awesome job tonight as always. I mean, you go out there and you're always a force to reckon with every week here at FTF, and you went out there and you showed what it is to go out there and be a winner, and you showed exactly why you have the buffer that you do have here at FTF with the playoff points that you've gathered throughout the season, as well as the stage points that you've gathered as well. So what's your strategy moving on from here? We obviously have one race left. We're visiting Dover next week before the cutoff round of 12 for the UFI round of 12. Are you going to go out there and try to win stages next week? Maybe take a chance to go out there and win a race, or you're going to kind of sit back and relax and help your teammates? So what's the strategy moving forward from here?
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. And yeah, I'm gonna first and foremost, I got to get Colin in the next round. He had some trouble. He was probably the fastest car actually, but yeah, got some really, really unfortunate trouble, and I don't know where that puts him in points, but gonna try to help him out next week, and also go for the win. Here on out, we're just gonna try to get as much of those bonus points as possible. Try to make it easier to get in that Final Four.
Well, there you go, and you've certainly put yourself ahead of the game by the performances that you've had during the regular season as well. Someone who is very familiar with victory lane over here at FTF, as well as those top 10 and top 5 finishes. But Taylor, first time we've gotten to interview you here on Full Velocity in the victory circle. I don't think we've done this yet with you, bud, but a little tradition we do here. We hand the mic over to you. I'll give you a couple seconds here to throw some shout outs to some teammates, any family members or friends that may come back and watch the archive of this broadcast here over the next couple of weeks. The floor is all yours, my friend. You can thank whoever you want to thank.
All right, thanks a lot, man. And first off, thanks to you guys for doing these broadcasts. These are really fun to watch, and thanks to Justin and all the admins here at FTF for putting on good shows every weekend. They work hard to put on the best tracks and setups, and did a real good job tonight. And thanks to the guy who painted my car, Cosman, Splash and Go Graphics. Heck of a car. Throwback scheme, running this chase. Haven't got to run it that much other than Darlington, so pretty stoked on that. I really like the scheme. And yeah, just thanks.
All right, Taylor. Well, from one friend to another, I always enjoy racing with you on the racetrack out there week in and week out. Congratulations on your first win here on the Full Velocity Network. Congratulations on your win here at New Hampshire this evening, and securing that spot for the UFI round of 12. And I know you're arguably one of the favorites to get yourself into that Final Four for ASUS Championship night, and we expect to see you there, buddy. So from all of us here at FVN, congratulations one more time, and we look forward to talking with you here in the future as well, buddy.
Yep, thanks a lot.
All right, guys, that is our race winner here this evening. That number 36 was Sheena Taylor Morgan's out there. Dominating performance there tonight here, Phil. And, I'm sure a lot of his fans out there expect to see him come championship weekend. He was there last year for the 2016 FTF chase, and I know he's one of the favorites to get back there, this year when we get down to ASUS Championship night.
Well, absolutely. Well, we got 7 more races before we get there, and 1 more race before we get to that round of 12. So with a brief points update, let's bring the owner and operator of FTF Racing in, our buddy old Justin Malello. Justin, buddy, how are you? And give us a points update, buddy. Where are we sitting heading into Dover next week?
Well, I'm really happy with how this race turned out. I'm really disappointed in my result, but nonetheless, our points heading into our final race of the round of 16. David and Taylor both locked in with wins after tonight. Third place is Kevin McAdams. He's 48 up on the cut line. Derek Justice is 4th, 44 up. Corey Carpenter is 5th, 39 points ahead. Maverick Morrow 6th, and he's got a 24-point cushion. Tom Sylvain is 7th. He's got 17 points. He's tied with Blake McCandless, also plus 17. Matt Vassar is 9th. He's got a 12-point advantage. Andrew Schwartz had a good run tonight. He moves into the top 12. He's 10th with a 10-point advantage. Jason Justice, who had a really good run tonight, he was last week. Now he's 11th, and he's got 9 points to the good. And Chris Wetz falls down to 12th. He's only got 7 points to the good. Our 4 that are looking on the outside, looking in, that's Matt Durr. He's 7 points out. Colin Keister, who had a piston failure tonight, he's 10 points out. Brandon Lawson, who had some engine troubles. He's 13 points out. And Justin Malillo, myself, I am 20 points out after my terrible performance tonight. But hey, we had one caution tonight, so
148 laps of green flag racing, almost reminiscent of what you guys did at Darlington a couple of weeks ago. It was a feat inside itself, but it just shows a testament to all this entire community, Justin, just how top-notch week in and week out you guys at FTF is, and just how solid this field is, top to bottom every week. I mean, there's literally 20 to 25 drivers in a given week that can show up to FTF and race for a win. It shows a testament of what you guys present for a product and the service you give to all of us, and the testament to all your great staff and crew that put on a great race each and every week.
It's definitely hands down some of the most competitive racing that's still out there, and I'm really I'm blessed to be a part of it, and I'm really thankful for everybody who comes and participates, and I'm thankful for you guys for putting on the broadcast, and I'm thankful to my whole staff for sticking with me.
Well, man, we got 8 more weeks to go of this thing. I mean, saddle up, because it is going to be one hell of a ride. And thanks for having us aboard here. We've had these dates circled on the calendar for a long time now through most of this year. And these next 8 weeks, man, FTF is always an adventure and a challenge, and it is going to be an awful lot of fun. So I know you're behind the 8 ball. You got a lot of racing left ahead, but it's almost do or die for you next week at Dover. So keep digging, brother. And I'm sure you guys are going to have a hell of a time next week. We can't wait to come back.
Yeah, 10-4. Can't wait for next week. Have a good night, guys.
All right, Justin Malillo, Todd giving us our nightly point update here as we turn our attention to Dover next week. And if we know the Monster Mile at all, we know what gobbles up race cars. And going to have a lot of guys, in Justin Malillo, the likes of Matt Durr, Colin Keister, Brandon Lawson on the outside looking in. Those guys have to do all they can to race their way in to not get eliminated after next week. So it just brings the intensity level. If Dover is not intense enough, you put all the implications of a championship on the line, and it is going to make for one wild show come 8:30 Eastern time next Sunday night.
Yeah, those guys on the bottom, depending on how the guys all go, of course. But those guys on the bottom, Justin Malillo, and a couple of those other guys, I believe Colin Keister, those guys, they almost want to be a must win. They kind of want to win that race or finish second and make sure they're in the stage points each and every time, because that could change in a hurry. Just look at Jason tonight. Jason had engine rolls last week. He's able to go from 16th to 11th tonight, but they're going to have to repeat that performance to get themselves back into the top 12 also. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be chaos, and we'll come out of it with our 12 guys for the next round.
Well, can't wait to see where that's going to go. 1 week from tonight, elimination race number 1 as we, put the cap on the SMS, round of 16, and look forward to the UFI round of 12 that'll start, the following week at the Kansas Speedway. So that'll be a great show. Looking forward to that. That's our next broadcast back on the airwaves 1 week from tonight here at the Monster Mile, Dover Downs International Speedway here. The Pennzoil Battle at the Monster 200 presented by Curry Towing. So until 1 week from tonight, for Joe and for Todd, I'm Phil Lacasse. We'll see you next time with another great installment of the ultimate eSport experience right here live on the Full Velocity Network. Good night.